Look, in me being lazy, I decided to do a bunch of game reviews on games I've played this year and just make it into one big ass video pretty much instead of just doing a bunch of smaller or like individual videos and uploading them. So think of this as just one big compilation of video game reviews. Now, I guess this will be a part 1 technically because there is more games that I have played and made videos on. But I'll just start with these ones since I've had these ones done for a while now. Now, not every video is going to be some long analysis. Some are short and sweet, and I also don't expect everyone to agree with me, which is perfectly fine. So if you disagree with me, just leave a comment about it and we can talk about it or whatever. Or if there is games that you would want me to play and review, then leave them down below because I definitely need some suggestions. But whatever, okay? Because there isn't many moments in your life that hurt your soul more than being so unbelievably hyped for something just for it to be straight as. I can't even begin to describe to you how hyped I was for Spider-Man 2. I broke the biggest rule that every gamer should follow. I pre-ordered this game, and I didn't just pre-order the game. No. I pre-ordered the digital deluxe edition. That's how confident I was that this game was going to be a fucking masterpiece. That's $100 fucking down the drain. Probably even more because of tax. Now, this has been a video that I've been waiting to make for a long time. I easily could have made this video when the game launched, but I'm lazy and I also decided to wait till the New Game Plus update came out so I could re-experience this game again. And maybe, it wouldn't have been so ass the second time around. So, when the New Game Plus update came around, I booted up the game again and started playing. And somehow, it was worse than I ever remembered it being. You see, this shit hurts because I genuinely loved Spider-Man 1. I honest to God think that game is a solid 9 out of 10. Gameplay was fun, and it felt like an improvement on what I already thought was perfected in Arkham Knight. And they made it work for another character that I absolutely love. The story was amazing. There is very few games, and I mean very few games, that can make me shed a thug tear, and Spider-Man 1 did that. The pacing was amazing, the characters were amazing, and felt like such good adaptations of Spider-Man characters. The web swinging was amazing, and this is coming from somebody who, the only Spider-Man games I played growing up were the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 on the Xbox 360 and the PS4. And those games were heavily flawed. And the swinging was pretty bad. Then the suits were amazing, and then the DLCs were pretty good, except for the screwball missions, but I think everyone hates those. Overall, Insomniac nailed it with Spider-Man 1 when they came out. Then they came out with Miles Morales 2 years later, and again, it was a good game. The story was decent for a Miles origin story. It was short and sweet, and it didn't overstay its welcome. The combat was still fun, and it felt a little different because of Miles' abilities. And the web swinging, oh my god, I thought they peaked with that game. I have spent far too much time just web swinging around in that game. Then the marketing for Spider-Man 2 started happening, and I was hooked. Kraven is such a cool villain, and he's extremely underrated. Then they had Venom being the main selling point. So let's just say I was all in. They 100% had me thinking that this game was going to be a masterpiece. Oh boy, was I wrong. More wrong than I could have ever wanted to be. This game is a waste of $300 million. This might be one of, if not the most perfect examples of what a modern Sony game is. This is an interactive movie. 70% of the time, during this game, it is either a cutscene or a hidden loading screen. 70% of the time, you are not playing the fucking game. Yes, I'll give them this. The cutscenes look nice, and they clearly spent most of the fucking budget on them because of the amount of times where you have to watch a cutscene just to do some forced walking segment, just to watch another fucking cutscene is unbelievable. I will never understand how people constantly shit on Ubisoft for having these boring ass fucking forced walking segments that nobody likes, but then goes and praises Sony for doing the same thing. I know most modern Sony fans don't actually play video games, and their introduction to video games was the PS4, where Sony just milked this formula dry, but holding up on the left joystick is not playing the game. It's boring and lazy. Nobody likes it. I honestly wish I had some way to record my hands on the controller while playing this game, because there is so many moments where you literally don't have to play the game. Shit, some of the quick time events in this game aren't even real.
Bro, what? My hand is... I'm only pressing circle. I am only pressing circle. I don't have to do anything. But this is a masterpiece, by the way. 10 out of 10. Masterpiece. No fucking shot. There's no way he doesn't see me. Did they really not do anything? Bro, what? No fucking way, bro. I'm literally playing the... I'm right in front of him. And he just cannot see me. Man, like, dude, you're fucking kidding. Like, you're fucking kidding, Insomniacs. Come on.
But you know what? Let's talk about when you actually do get to play this game. And I'll start positive and say that the web swinging is amazing. Like, actually A1. You can see and feel that this is where they spent most of the budget when it comes to the gameplay. Because once you web swing in this game, there is no going back to the other games. It's fluid and responsive, and it just feels really good. Pause on that. I thought they perfected it with Miles Morales, but they one-upped themselves here, and I will give them that. Both Peter and Miles feel really good to swing with, and you can go really fast once you get the hang of it. So if you're someone who just likes free roaming and just swinging around New York, you're going to have a blast with it in this game. They also made New York even bigger, so to help you get around faster, they added the web wings, which I like in this game even though it is pretty much flying. I mean, you can literally hover or like glide from one half of the map to the other. It's insane. But personally, I don't mind it because it allows you to go even faster with the web swinging once you learn how to use it. So I'm not mad at this. So overall, 10 out of 10 when it comes to the web swinging. Onto the gameplay, well, it's passable. I played on New Game Plus, and this is something they very clearly, purposely removed from launch so that they could have a big update, because they didn't playtest this at all. Again, I played on New Game Plus hard, and this shit is a cakewalk. Making Spider-Man mechanical the way that they did was a huge mistake. Literally every combat encounter you can just win by spamming all your abilities. And you will just like instant win. It's like literally the most brain dead shit ever. And the only time it's not really effective is when you fight the symbiote enemies. But like in general, those enemies are just fucking cancer. So I fucking hate the symbiote enemies. That's the only time it doesn't work. So really, if you just spam all your abilities, you will win. But onto the combat itself, it is okay. I mean, if you played the first game or Miles Morales, it's literally the same exact thing. Nothing was tweaked or added. There's not much to really say. If you've played either Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, or any of the Arkham games, you know exactly how this combat system is. The big addition to the combat system was the boss fights, which are decent. Like, it's a decent concept, but I don't know, they just didn't do it for me in this game. I think the first game handled them so much better, but that's not to say that they are trash. They just aren't very complex, and the bosses don't really do many moves. As long as you learn like 3 to 4 moves of their combos, like they become super easy and trivial. The only challenging part is when they do their attacks that you have to parry, because yes, Spider-Man can now parry, which just feels wrong. And it's almost like the identical combat system or parry system to like the God of War games, like the new ones. Honestly, removing the gadget wheel was a huge mistake. I actually really liked the gadget wheel from the first 2 games. I think it adds a lot of different ways to approach combat, and especially stealth, which stealth sucks in this game because it is so brain dead easy that you can just clear an entire room with one web line. This game's AI is really fucking dumb, and this is proven in the MJ missions, because yes, they brought them back. In the first game, nobody, and I mean nobody, liked them. They were slow and boring, being pretty much just like linear paths as a loading screen. But in this game, the MJ missions might be one of the biggest jokes of all time. I hate MJ in this game, which I will explain later, but I hated MJ and her missions. And this is where I learned that you can literally just run through the entire mission as MJ, killing everyone. The AI is so retarded that it has no idea what to do when you just run at them. So it's actually significantly faster to just run through every MJ mission, just tasing every hunter, instead of actually playing the game that they like the way they want you to play it. There is so many scripted moments in this game, it is just unbelievable. So yeah, the gameplay is passable, it's more of the same, nothing really changed. The only thing that they improved on was the web swinging. You can argue the gameplay is worse than the previous games, but since the rest of this video is completely negative, I'll be nice and say that the gameplay is passable, and they did an amazing job with the web swinging. Well, since this is a movie game, how's the story? And, well, it's not good. The best way to describe it is that it's a clusterfuck, okay? I'll be nice and say that there was definitely potential here, and they could have made something really good. But one, the writers absolutely suck. Like, the writing in this game is really bad and all over the place. Two, and again, I'll be generous and say that they had to cut a lot of content because it feels like half the story is missing. This game's story is only about 10 to 12 hours long, and they are trying to put, get ready for this, Peter, Miles, Harry, MJ, Norman, Craven, Venom, Dr. Connors / the Lizard, Black Cat, and Martin Lee all into a 12-hour story. That is 10 characters being shoved into this short of a game, while using 2 characters that are historically known for being in very emotional Spider-Man stories. It just doesn't work. This game's story needed to be much longer, honestly closer to the first game's, which was around 35 to 40 hours. There is no build up to anything. Everything just feels so rushed in this game. And the writing for most of the characters is fucking terrible. I'll start with Peter. What the fuck happened to him? He fucking sucks in this game. He is literally Celtic Shaq. At the age of 26, Peter is washed. He sucks at being Spider-Man for some reason. Literally the entire game, there is only one time where Peter saves the day and does something on his own as Spider-Man. I swear the writers have to be a part of like some sort of like Spider-Man Twitter forum because they made Peter's life like just complete shit. He sucks at being Spider-Man. He can't do anything on his own. He cries and apologizes for shit that literally isn't his fault. Black Cat becomes a lesbian, and Mary Jane is ugly as fuck. That's honestly probably why he's washed. I wouldn't be a good Spider-Man either if I just got done saving the city and I gotta come home to this whiny bitch. The black suit was also such a missed opportunity. You have it on for about 5 or 6 missions, and no joke, in the span of one cutscene, he goes from being normal, just with a little more energy and being a little more confident, to being a complete sociopath.
Let's hope Connors is home. And still in control of his green alter ego. His son's room.
Doc?
Connors was hero, right? And fighting for his life by the looks of it. This lab probably kept him and his family safe whenever he had an episode. A panic room. Bet Connors spent more time in there than in his own bed.
Be anywhere.
You have no idea.
You are glorious prey.
Let me tell you how this is all gonna go down. You leave Connors alone! He doesn't deserve this! But if you or Craven keep going after him, you'll answer to me!
Miles is supposed to be the student in this game, but he's honestly more of the teacher, if anything. Miles doesn't need help with anything. He solves all his problems on his own, and he saves the day every time him and Peter are together. It is very clear that they had no idea what to do with Miles in this game, because he just feels so out of place. They tried building up their like fight between him and Peter so hard, but like it just didn't like have anything to it. It wasn't strong enough to make it work. No joke, the only conflict Miles and Peter have in this game, and I say conflict with quotes because it's really not even that big of a deal, is that Peter won't pick up Miles' phone calls. That's literally it. And Miles in this game is so unbelievably fucking corny and unfunny. He is constantly talking and just making quips, which like I get it, bro. Spider-Man is a quippy character. It's a staple of Spider-Man. But this game just overdoes it. Like, they are so unfunny. It's literally Reddit humor.
I was rocking the club, then a bunch of bad guys showed up. Now they're trying to rock me.
Oh, dear.
They're here for the sea lion exhibit?
Oh, I want to see that. Did you know sea lions can swim up to 25 miles per hour?
Focus, Hunter! Lots of
Humor. Look, I like Miles as a character. I think the comic book versions of Miles are okay. They're decent. and I think they did an amazing job with him in the Spider-Verse series. But in this game, he is literally just overpowered Urkel. Also, can we please, for the love of God, leave this haircut alone? I am tired of seeing every black character in any type of media in video games, but mainly in video games, but like just in general. I am tired of seeing this fucking Killmonger haircut. Nobody in real life has this haircut, I promise you. His original haircut in the first game was perfect. I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, he looks like a fucking lesbian. Kraven is a badass and completely carries the game. He is probably the best character in the game, I'm not even gonna lie. Every scene he is in is amazing. I will say whoever was the lead writer for Kraven did their job, because he is awesome. So good job. The only thing I don't like about him is that he has a massive militia, and that just doesn't seem like Kraven to me. Kraven having this like big massive army just takes away the whole idea of the hunt for me. Like, I get why they have it in there. Obviously you have to have some sort of enemy faction, but like a part of me wishes that they took like the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game's approach to Kraven, where he pretends to like be your friend and help you, but he's ultimately hunting you while he learns everything about you. But that's just like a minor thing. Overall, Kraven was by far the best character in the game. Venom is also super cool. Too bad that he is just heavily underused in this game. Like, he's in the game for like max 2 hours. But for the time that he is in the game, it is awesome. And getting to play as him was also really fun. So again, good job with Venom. I fucking hate MJ with a fucking passion. Like, in the first game, she was passable. But in this game, she is just straight up unbearable. She is annoying, whiny, and just ugly. The funny thing is that MJ quite literally causes all the problems for Peter in this game. Yet she has the audacity to play victim and blame him. It's also very clear that she is a self-insert. Like, this is what MJ looked like in the first game. Now look at her in this game, and this is the writer for her. Like, just tell me that this isn't a self-insert. Back to the story itself, there was only 2 parts where I had a massive issue with it, which I'll explain when we get there, but just overall in general, everything in this story feels so rushed. Like, I think it started off decently. I thought the Sandman fight was really cool and was an awesome way to, like, open up the game. Even though, like, gameplay-wise, you didn't actually have to do much and it was really just a glorified cutscene. And of course, Miles saves the day. But they set up the story to be pretty interesting, and I thought the story was pretty good up until Harry learns about his powers at the carnival. That's when the story starts to decline. I think they could have really had like a good moment for Spider-Man there, and something that could have actually worked for what they were trying to do. Because like, what if Spider-Man didn't save those people, and he started to have a real reason to doubt himself? Because, you know, he fucking sucks in this game, so if he can't save those people, he would have grown a hatred for Kraven, since those people never would have died if it wasn't for him. And also, he would have had a reason to doubt himself as Spider-Man, making him have the symbiote suit even more. I think the way Peter got the symbiote suit is also fucking stupid, because like, yeah, Peter's gonna die 25% of the way through a Spider-Man game. Like, I don't think it would have been as bad if the writers didn't try to make it seem if it was Peter's fault for getting the symbiote, because Peter literally didn't choose to have the symbiote suit on. He was fucking dead. He died saving yo ugly ass. If you didn't get stuck in the van and coincidentally just drop your phone just to get trapped in a cage with Kraven, Peter never would have got the symbiote. It wasn't his fault that he had the symbiote suit on and any of that happened. It was literally MJ's fault. The whole black suit just felt like just so rushed. Like, they built it up to be like the whole main thing of this game. Like, all the marketing for this game was that Peter was going to be the symbiote, or that he was going to have the symbiote suit on. Yet he has it on for 5 missions, and in the span of one cutscene, he just completely changes from being cocky to like a complete monster. They also didn't do a really good job with Harry's descent into madness, I guess, or his shift into being angry. Like, why are you upset? Peter is trying to save your life. The only part that is convincing is when Peter gets the symbiote off him and says that Harry cannot use it. That is the only part that actually feels like a reason why Harry would be mad. Everything else just seems so forced. But before all that happens, when Peter goes to save Miles, I thought the Kraven fight was good, and I thought the build up to the whole thing was good. But this is where my first major issue with the game's story is. Miles and Peter's fight. Now, Miles and Peter's fight wasn't a bad idea. It just wasn't executed well at all. It makes no sense once you start to actually think about it for like 5 seconds. How the fuck does Miles, who is injured, he literally cannot stand up because he lost a fight to Kraven. How does an injured Miles, who can't beat Kraven, somehow manage to be a fully enraged symbiote Spider-Man who can beat Kraven? In no world does any version of Miles beat any version of symbiote Spider-Man. Any symbiote Spider-Man dog walks Miles easy. They had such a great opportunity to do something here that could have actually had consequences to the story and could have actually affected Miles and Peter's relationship. Peter, for the rest of the game, is constantly crying and apologizing and saying how he can't be a good Spider-Man anymore, even though he did nothing wrong to Miles. What if he beats the absolute shit out of Miles, which leads to Peter realizing what the suit has done for him, and Peter himself decides to take it off? This giving Peter an actual reason to feel bad and say sorry. Instead, Peter isn't strong enough to do it on his own, and Miles has to save him again. Peter literally can't do anything on his own in this damn game. But please, someone explain to me, how does an injured Miles beat a stronger version of Spider-Man? How? That it literally doesn't make any sense to me. Following that, Venom gets loose and kills Kraven, which is fine. It just kind of does Kraven a little dirty, I'm not gonna lie. Kraven didn't get enough screen time or action in this game, so once he actually becomes like a real part of the story, he just dies. So all of the shit that he did for like the first 8 hours of the game just kind of feels pointless. Don't get me wrong, I know what they were getting at with it, but Kraven killed like 6 villains from like Spider-Man's Rogue Gallery just to be killed off after having like 30 minutes of screen time in this game. But I won't lie, him getting his head eaten off by Venom was cool. So I'm not really hating on this, I just think they did Kraven a little dirty. After this, the rest of the game just becomes a chase for Venom until you end up fighting him, which is my final moment that I just hated about this game's story. Why does Miles get the final blow on Venom? This is Peter's moment. This is what has been built up for ever since the first game. This moment has been building up for 5 years. 5 years just for Peter to get his ass beat and lay there like a fucking dummy. Peter literally got a whole plot device that is supposed to make him strong enough to beat Venom, yet Miles gets the final in-game blow on him. Why the fuck is Miles even here? This is Peter's best friend, who he needs to kill to save the world. Meanwhile, Miles has spoke to Harry maybe twice in the entire game. This is what I mean when I say that they just had no idea what to do with Miles. If anything, the roles should have been reversed. Miles should have been the one who got his ass beat, while Peter had the big fight with Venom. Also, this ending just sucks. They try to make it all emotional and sad like the first game, but you barely got to know Harry in this game, and he doesn't even fucking die. Like, they did all this shit. They built all this whole thing up just for him to be a fucking vegetable. Then the ending teaser with Norman and how he hates Spider-Man for some fucking reason is dumb. Like, why are you upset? Your son is a vegetable, yes, but he isn't dead. He says, bring my son back, and they did just that. It's not like he died or anything. And if they make Harry the Green Goblin, just wrap it up. This next game is gonna fucking suck if Harry's the Green Goblin. There's no way that they fumble this hard. This might be one of the biggest video game disappointments ever for me. Like, it might actually be the biggest. Like, who knows? The only game that could possibly beat it is if Bloodborne 2, just sucks. But I have a strange feeling that that game will never be made. But man, this game just sucks. There was so much potential with this game where they truly could have done something incredible. But this game just falls flat on its fucking face. I don't even have the energy to bitch about it anymore, even though I just spent 20 minutes bitching about it. But still, I don't know, this was really something for me to just let out all my rage and dissatisfaction with this game. I have no expectations for the DLCs, and if they don't come out by the end of the year, I won't make a part 2 to this. In Spider-Man 3, I also have very little to no hope for. Seeing how poorly this game was, I doubt they will actually change much of anything. And seeing how Cindy Moon is now going to be in that game, I can just tell that it's going to be a mess. See, See, this is another game where I don't really know how to feel about it. Kind of like No Rest for the Wicked, where I'm pretty conflicted. It's not a bad game. Don't let the mixed Steam reviews of it make you think that this game sucks or anything, because it doesn't. But at the same time, there isn't really that much to it other than shooting people. This is pretty much the equivalent to, Mom, can we get Doom? No, we have Doom at home. This entire game is just going to a square arena, killing a bunch of people, walking through a little hallway, killing more people in a square arena, going through a hallway, killing some more people, then the end of the mission. That's what you will be doing this entire game. And I'm not trying to sound like I hate this game, because I don't. I'd honestly just say it's mindless fun. I feel like if you're someone who's like really big and getting into like the gamer zone or like the flow state, I think this is what I think that's what it's called, but you kind of just like lock in and you don't even realize what's going on or what you're doing. You're just doing it, and you're also probably addicted to Adderall. Then this game is 100% for you. It's fast, simple, and fun. Everything you look for in an arena shooter. Now, I don't really care for games like this all that much. I find the constant gameplay loop of killing people and collecting ammo and health to not really be that fun, at least not for a super long time. I enjoy it at the start, but after a while I just get bored of it. That's why I'm not really a fan of Doom or like Doom Eternal, and I also hate that like Doom Eternal has like the forced weapon balance where every gun is like good or like used for a specific enemy. I thought that shit was stupid. But there really isn't much to say about this game though. If you're someone who likes fast, twitchy, Adderall-esque arena shooters, you'll probably like this game. It's very short and has a basic as fuck story that doesn't really matter at all, which is nice because I hate when games that you play simply for the gameplay loop try overdoing the story. I will say the world of this game seems really cool. It has like a cyberpunk slash steampunk slash like Metro series vibe to it. It's kind of cool. Look, this game goes on sale all the fucking time for like $7, or you could probably find it on G2A for pretty cheap. So if it seems like something you would like, I don't see why you wouldn't get it. It's not terrible. It's just a really basic, like kind of janky middleware arena shooter. Look, I've been a huge fan of Pokemon pretty much my entire life. As a child, I had every single Pokemon game, and I loved them with all my heart. Like, everyone had like all the new games and had all the new game systems. Not me. I had my shitty like brick DS and every new Pokemon game that released. That was like my AAA experience as a child, and man, I just loved those games. But as I got older, I stopped playing the newer ones that would release because they looked like complete ass, and I wasn't interested, to be honest. I did get back into Pokemon though around the release of like Legends Arceus, which I did play for maybe about like 25-30ish hours before I just couldn't take it anymore. I thought the concept was cool and that the gameplay loop of like running around catching Pokemon was fun, and it made it quite interesting if you ask me. I've never been a fan of catching every Pokemon or completing the Pokédex. I've only done it a few times when I was younger, just so I could get like the national deck so new Pokemon could appear. But in Legends Arceus, I thought catching the Pokemon itself was fun, but everything else about the game pretty much sucked if you ask me. Like, why the fuck are we trying to take a Pokemon game seriously? Or like at least a story? Like, I swear half of that game is just mashing the A button because there is hours upon hours of dialogue in that game. So I honestly came away disliking the game, but I thought it was a good building block for whatever they had next. And I guess since everyone hates Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, even though I don't think they're that bad, and yes, I do know that they're literally just one-of-one remakes of the original games. Yeah, it's scummy as hell to make like a one-of-one remake and charge $60 for it, but Sony does this all the time, I'm just saying. Anyway, on to Violet. I didn't think it was terrible, but it's also not very good. And yeah, some of these games' problems aren't really Game Freak's fault necessarily, because the Switch itself is just such a shitty console. Like, I swear to God, I don't know why Nintendo is like so like focused and trying to remake like the Wii and the DS. Like, please, for the love of God, Nintendo, please just make an actual console, or like make your games available on PC or something, because the Switch is a complete dog shit like console. It's so underpowered, and it would literally take 2 minutes just to load Pokemon Violet. 2 minutes to load this game. Does this look like a game that takes 2 minutes to load? So please, for the love of fucking God, make an actual console. This is a game with PS2 graphics that can't run above 30 FPS half the time. Shit, it doesn't even reach 30 FPS in like battle. That is fucking terrible. The amount of popping in the world is like terrible. There is random frame drops. The long ass loading times for literally everything is awful. Again, just make a console, Nintendo. I think like you have somewhat of an idea here that could work, but like having such a shitty console that can't run anything just doesn't help at all. Like, I'm telling you, Pokemon could be so fucking cool, and like they could probably make a really good Pokemon game if they actually had like the hardware to do it. The other problems are that this game itself is just way too fucking easy. And look, I know that I'm an adult, and saying that Pokemon is easy is like a low blow, because Pokemon is super simple now, because it's literally just about typing, and the game literally tells you what is good against what. But can we like make these games a little harder, please? Like, I'm tired of every battle being like super easy. I swear, playing this game, I had no challenge whatsoever. The Elite Four is a complete pushover. The champion isn't even really that hard, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I don't fucking know. None of the gym leaders are challenging. Which, speaking of the gym leaders, who the fuck thought it was a good idea to make you do some stupid mini game in order to challenge the gym leader? Like, seriously, who thought about this? Instead of like fighting trainers like in every other game, which works perfectly fine, why do I have to push some giant fucking olive to like a finish line? What does this have to do with Pokemon? Your rival is kind of like the only challenge in this game, and I mean, she isn't that hard to beat, but she is definitely the best trainer in the game, which is saying something, because I didn't really struggle against her like ever. The open world of this game also sucks, which I think a part of it is because, again, the limitations that the Switch has. Because again, you're exploring a giant open empty world at about 25 FPS, and there really isn't that many interesting Pokemon in the world to find, if I'm going to be honest. It seems like most of the interesting Pokemon are in the DLC, which I didn't buy, so I was stuck with whatever Pokemon I had in like my Pokemon home and like the other 2, maybe 3 Pokemon I caught. But I think the open world itself is flawed. I think it's a cool concept, but it also completely ruins the game. After you beat the harder gyms, because if you're like me, you're gonna go to like the harder gyms first where you're under leveled and have like a genuine challenge. But once you beat them, you're completely over leveled for the rest of the game until you reach like the very end of the game where everyone just has like at least like a 5 to 7 level like gap against you. But again, their AI sucks, so it's really just like an even battle. Their level doesn't even mean anything. Like, I don't know who designed like or came up with the idea for like the Team Star bases, but you need to be fired immediately. These are the most boring, uninteresting things you will ever do, and I don't even need to explain why they are bad. The gameplay says more than I ever could. The giant mystic Pokemon like side quest thing with Arven was kind of cool. Like, it was an alright idea. I just hate this motherfucker with a passion, but I mean, like, they aren't like a terrible idea, and they are kind of like a unique way to level up like Meridian or whatever the fuck his name is. The story sucks, and I know that's kind of, again, a low blow for Pokemon, because, again, why would you ever care about a Pokemon story? But since now Pokemon and Game Freak want you to care about the story, they didn't do a good job with this. There's like the default Pokemon story where you battle all 8 gyms and become the champion, blah blah blah. Then there's like the Team Star story, which is pretty much just like a giant anti-bullying message, because for some reason they decided to not just have like some evil Pokemon faction that wants to take over the world. So from what I've gathered, there was a bunch of weird kids who went to this Pokemon school and got bullied for being weird. So they decided to leave and start their own gang called Team Star. And their leader is like one of those girls who doesn't know anything about Pokemon, but is in love with Eevee and all like the evolutions. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Then the ending where you meet the professor, who turns out to be like some AI, is just dumb as fuck. Like, what has even like this come to? Like, it feels just kind of like a whiplash. Like, again, the professor isn't mentioned at all. Like, yeah, you get to hear like this emo fucking bitch fucking talk about him the entire time, or like complain about him, but like the professor is never like in the game. Like, there's no build up to this. Like, you go to Area Zero and then shit just happened, I guess, and like you figure out that Area Zero is with all like these time traveling Pokemon or something. I don't know. And again, it doesn't make it any better that Area Zero, which doesn't have any cool or rare Pokemon whatsoever, is just one big ass walking simulator where you get to listen to Arven, I think that's what his name is, just bitch and cry about his dad and like how much he hates him. I swear, like, this has to be like the writer's self-insert character right here, because during this entire like almost 2 hours, it seems like Arvin is the main character. Can we please, for the love of God, stop writing characters with daddy issues? Like, it's not interesting or deep. Nobody cares, okay? Like, nobody gives a fuck. These writers also just need to stop projecting their daddy issues into every character they write. Like, again, nobody cares. This is a Pokemon game. I don't want to hear about your daddy issues, okay? I don't care that you don't like your dad because he abandoned you. I don't care. Overall, this game is heavily flawed, but it's not terrible. I think most of its issues come from the limitations of the Switch itself, and if Nintendo stops being lazy and either makes an actual console or makes their games on PC, I think they could overall kind of build off of this and make something pretty good. But if I had to put this on like the Pokemon game tier list, this is gonna be in the C tier.
You know, I could put in a word with my dad. Have you assigned to my detail, if you're interested?
You don't need me. You proved you could handle yourself. Even if you could use a lesson in knife safety. Come on. Let's go home.
Condor 1? Roost to Condor 1, do you read me? Come in. I said come in. Is this thing even on? Leon! Leon, are you and Ashley all right? Where are you? Come on!
Surprisingly, this year I played a lot of Capcom games, and one that I heard was very good was the Resident Evil 4 remake. Now, I don't hate Resident Evil as a series, but I was never the biggest fan of it. I don't know, it never clicked with me as I grew up, but I did play Resident Evil 4 when I was a kid on the PS2, and I thought it was fun. I don't really remember much about any of it, because I was like 5 years old, but still, I thought it was fun, but also scary and really difficult because I sucked at shooters. So playing the remake, I went in with kind of pretty much a blank slate. I wasn't blinded by nostalgia or anything, and overall, I had a good time with it. I'm not really into shooters anymore, but this game understands how to make a shooter fun for someone who doesn't really enjoy them that much. This game is all about aiming and positioning, and I love that. It is very clear Capcom knew what made the original such a classic, and they were able to do just as good of a job as they did with the original with this one. Now, I'm not going to sit here and argue with anyone about the remake versus the original because I don't care. And it's clear that it's more of a reimagining of RE4 and less of a remake. The shooting in this game is amazing, which is really pretty much the reason you will buy this game. Yes, the game does have tank controls, which is definitely something you're going to have to get used to with this game. Nowadays, every shooter is super fast-paced and it has this like twitchy, Adderall-esque movement. So it's definitely a change of pace, but this game makes it work. RE4 was amazing because of how solid the gameplay loop was throughout the entire game. It's very simple but fun. You shoot enemies in the head, you gather ammo, and you gather items to unlock puzzles, and you just rinse and repeat. It's very simple but fun. There's a decent variety of guns that you can use, even though for me I really only used the pistol, the shotgun, and the sniper throughout my entire playthrough. But there is assault rifles and rocket launchers and different forms of pistols. I honestly think the biggest addition that they made to this game's combat was the knife. Yes, I know the knife was in the original, but they kind of expanded on it on the remake, and I think they did an amazing job with it. Being able to parry attacks and projectiles was satisfying and kind of served as like a skill cap, or maybe like a skill check, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't hard to parry things, but on higher difficulties you definitely have to learn how to parry, and it's not really like a get out of jail free card. But overall, I think the knife combat, or like the knife edition, was an amazing idea. The enemy variety was also amazing. This game is constantly throwing different enemies at you and putting you in difficult situations. Like, they will throw you in a small area with a bunch of enemies. Like, one instance, you're going to be thrown into a barn with these chainsaw motherfuckers while you have to protect Ashley, all while being swarmed by like 100 different zombies. Or you're going to be put into like this little house with Louise, and like, it's just going to be zombies after zombies after zombies just entering the house. It's honestly super fun. Or there's like these enemies that like regenerate their cells or something, so they can't die unless you shoot them in a specific area, so you're gonna have to avoid them as you proceed throughout the mission. My point being, you are constantly being thrown in different environments and situations, so you're always on your toes and having to think about your surroundings. The boss fights are alright. I mean, they aren't amazing, but they're passable. None of them are very difficult, I would say, at least not on like normal difficulty. Honestly, Ramon was the hardest one for me, but he was more annoying than hard. They all kind of just play somewhat similarly. You just gotta shoot them enough times in like their weak area and then stab them in the face, and then eventually they will die. But overall, they are good. They aren't trash. The story is also pretty good. It just takes a while before it actually gets interesting. The first half is kind of boring if I'm being honest, but it definitely picks up once you rescue Ashley for the first time. What I will say is it feels like a lot of the key characters in this game are criminally underused though. Other than Leon, Ashley, and arguably Louise, everyone else is so underused and isn't really in the game at all. Salazar literally doesn't show up until the very end of the game. He also got hit the hardest though because from what I remember from the originals, Salazar was always talking to you or taunting you throughout the entire game. Meanwhile in this one, he's nowhere to be seen. Same with Krauser, he kinda just shows up. Like, yeah, there is little hints that he is there, but like he doesn't actually appear until the very end of the game. And Ramon, like, they just butchered his design. He looks like a fucking drag queen. The final boss fight also isn't that good if I'm being honest, but the ending is definitely worth it. You get this like satisfied, like accomplished feeling, and it's nice, okay? It's a good ending even if the boss fight isn't that good. I'm gonna keep this part short, but I don't care or really have a problem with Ada. I know there was a whole thing about her voice actor and how terrible of a job she did according to the original RE4 fans. And I mean, yes, the person doing the voice acting for her could have done a better job. There is definitely moments where it is very clear she is just reading off of a script.
The deal was, we get you out of here when you deliver the amber. No amber, no protection, Luis.
Well, after 6 years, that is one hell of a greeting, Ada.
You don't seem surprised. Interesting.
Ada, what the hell are you doing?
Nothing personal, Leon. Luis and I had an arrangement. Don't worry, I'll take good care of it. Ride's here. You coming?
But overall, it is not that bad. Leon and Ashley definitely carry the game though when it comes to the story. Leon is like your cool action movie character who doesn't really talk that much, but he kind of just has like this aura to him, and he has some decent one-liners.
As the very source, your United States and then the entire world shall overflow with his grace. For that is the iron will of my master, the most holy, Lord Sattler. So then you will comply, yes?
Never.
You heard the lady.
Ashley!
Such a fool, Mr. Kennedy. To have been bestowed with Lord Sattler's...
You talk too much.
Failed!
Ashley is also a good character, mainly just because she clearly simps for Leon, which is such a nice change of pace from every other form of media out there that makes every female character like some girl boss who can do everything on her own and plays hard to get, while Ashley kind of just loves Leon the moment she lays eyes on him. So overall, amazing combat and a decent story that doesn't take more than 15 hours to beat. This is definitely a game I would recommend if you see it on sale. If it's like $20 or something, I would 100% you pick it up. First, I must start off by saying I've been a fan of Dark Souls since 2014 because that's when I played my first ever Souls game, being Dark Souls 2 for the Xbox 360. And I've been a huge fan of this series ever since, and really every game that From Software has made. I've beat every single Souls game that FromSoft has made. Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and DLC, Dark Souls 2 and DLC, Dark Souls 3 and DLC, Bloodborne and DLC, Sekiro, which isn't really a Souls game, but people still group this game with all the other Souls games, so I'll just add it, and Elden Ring. Now, I say this because every time someone tries to critique or point out problems with any Souls games, all these fat pimple-faced retards say the same exact thing. It's almost like they're fucking bots. They either say skill issue or get good, acting as if I haven't beat the same shit you have, and I've probably been a fan of this series longer than you. Because I'm going to say this now and as politely as possible. If Elden Ring is your first ever Souls game, and it's the only Souls game you have ever played, your opinion means fucking nothing to me. I don't know how this has happened, but somehow all these new Souls fans, who just got into these games because of Elden Ring, have tried to make it seem as if you're a tourist if you have a problem with anything. Like, that's like a rookie trying to tell LeBron what to do on the court. And look, I like Elden Ring a lot. I think this game is honestly the best game to come out since 2018. I thought Miyazaki did an amazing job with it and made every part of the game feel memorable, even if, yes, some areas are really empty and filled with repeat bosses. And into the later game, every boss is just some cancer anime boss that has a million hit combos and can do all this crazy shit. I still think Elden Ring is an amazing game. With that being said, Elden Ring definitely has problems, my biggest being the boss design. 95% of the bosses in Elden Ring are beaten the same exact way, dodge rolling. Now, I have no problem with the concept of dodge rolling. I think it's a very necessary part of Souls games that really brings in the skill factor, but every boss is beaten by pressing circle, and it gets tiring, and it's just not enjoyable anymore. And sadly, Elden Ring has become a normie tier game. It's a lot of people's first ever Souls game, which is both a good and bad thing. I think it's amazing Souls games are finally getting the big, massive recognition for being amazing games. And like I said, Elden Ring is a good game, and I want people to play good games. The problem is, this is a lot of people's first Souls game, and they think that these games are fun solely because they are hard. And From Software has fully bought into this idea. Fuck the level design, fuck the gang squads, fuck the cool and unique areas, fuck the interesting boss design. No, fuck all that. Just make it hard, because that's what people love about these games. I honestly think most modern Souls fans are just masochists who can't enjoy something unless it is incredibly hard. And look, I'm not going to argue and say that you aren't having fun with the game, even though I do truly believe that some people are just forcing themselves to enjoy it. But this is truly the first time I haven't had fun playing a Souls game. Look, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm kind of burnt out with the Souls mechanics, and they definitely do not work for what they're trying to do with these games now. Or maybe it's the stupid scaling with the Shadow Tree Blessing, but this DLC quickly became unenjoyable. I'll say this, I think for the most part, the world looks really nice. I mean, just entering the DLC for the first time, I had to take a second just to look at the Shadow Erdtree thing because it genuinely looks super cool. Same with a lot of these areas in this game. I thought the Hidden Dragon area was kind of cool. I found, like, the fucking, like, Cerulean Coast, that shit looked beautiful. And also, like, the hidden area there where you fight the boss also looked awesome. Again, From Software can make cool looking areas, I'll give them that. But in a way, it feels like that's the only thing they cared about. Because yeah, the areas look cool, but for most of the time, they're boring as shit to actually explore. Like, you're doing nothing half the time. They are so empty, and the time you do get to fight something, guess what? It's something you've already fought before. They had 2 years to make something, and they filled it with repeat bosses.
I ain't gonna lie, bro, this shit is beautiful as fuck. Like, they certainly did their fucking job here, because, I mean, this looks nice, I'm not gonna lie. Too bad there's nothing to fucking do in it. I mean, it's just running and running and running. My goodness. I mean, the people who certainly made this definitely should be getting paid, but, I mean, too bad it's just empty. It's just eye candy at this point. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. There's another one? I don't think I have gotten like the grasp of this concept of like this boss fight yet. I don't think I fought this guy enough. Yes, another tree sentinel. Thank God, I love fighting tree sentinels. Oh, and I can't use my fucking mimic tier either. Great. Yeah, I don't think I know how to do this yet from software. They really ran out of ideas, huh? Because I've fought this stupid fucking Death Viper like 10 times. Okay, maybe not 10 times. I think in the main game they're only like in there maybe 3 times. But still, come on, From Software. You couldn't like figure out anything else? Really?
Then there's the legacy dungeons, which feel so lazy. Like, I never thought I would say that for a FromSoft game, but it's true. I honestly think From Software is just going through the motions now on making these. And look, I understand that From Software reuses a lot of assets and things from their previous games, but this feels just like copying, or just like you're running out of ideas. Like, you've been here before, it was just called Langdell. You've been here before in Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne. You've been here at this generic castle area before. You've been here just instead of Bug-Broken Radon, it was with Gale or the Lord of Cinders. Shit, you can even fucking maybe stretch in Gwyn here. Like, you fought this bitch before. He was just called Pontiff Sullivan. You fought this guy before. Now it's just a mix of Ludwig and the Orphan of Kos. Shit, they even brought in Gyorbu or whatever the fuck his name is from Sekiro.
My name is Gyorbu Masataka Oniwa!
I guess since we're on the topic of the boss fights, we might as well talk about them. I hated about every one of them. Sure, there was a few fights I enjoyed, but for the most part, I just had a miserable time fighting all of them. The simplest way I can put it is, they just aren't fun. There is nothing fun about pressing circle over and over and over and over again every single boss fight. Every fucking boss in this game has these multi-hit combos with these AoE attacks, these delayed attacks, these spin-to-win attacks, some form of gap closer. They have some ultra cinematic anime move. And finally, after all that, every boss has a one-hit kill move. Meanwhile, all I can do is roll on the fucking ground and occasionally jump over their attacks. That's it. It also doesn't help that they kill you in 3 hits. And yes, I know there's like the whole Shadow Tree and like the revised Spirit Ash or whatever. I don't remember what it's called. But like those don't even help you that much. Like, yeah, the more you collect, the more damage you do and the less damage you take. But still, the main bosses in this game will kill you in about 3 hits no matter what. Maybe 4 or 5 if you like min-max health. It's just not fun. Also, please for the love of God, do not say some retarded shit like, well, you know that there's some weapons have special moves that you can use, like Mesmer's weapon where you can do his combo. Like, please shut the fuck up. Go do that against Radon and tell me how that goes for you. It also doesn't help that they brought back the Dark Souls 3 poise mechanic where it doesn't actually matter how much strength or stamina or what armor you're wearing. You only have poise in specific attack frames. So 90% of the time, these bosses just get a power armor through all your attacks and kill you while you didn't even get to hit them once. Also, how the fuck has From Software still not figured out how to do an actual third-person camera yet? Against all these dragon bosses or the bosses that can fly up in the air for extended amount of time, the player needs to be able to see them. Yet the camera still doesn't know what to lock onto, or it gives you enough distance to properly see what's going on. What happened to Demon Souls or Dark Souls 1 boss design, where every boss felt unique and memorable while still giving you a fair challenge? I know most new Souls fans won't play those games since they're slower and the bosses aren't these anime bosses that are constantly attacking you. And most people would just say that they're gimmick bosses to try and say that they aren't fun. But I would argue that those bosses were more fun because they were all unique. There was a specific way to beat them that wasn't just dodge rolling over and over and over again. The Capra Demon isn't remembered for the Capra Demon himself, but instead for the arena. You're thrown into this small cramped area with him and 2 dogs. That's what makes it challenging. Or Demon King, where you have to make your way around the arena to shoot him with ballistas. But if he hits you once, you die. Or the Iron Spider, where he fills up the cave with fire and you have to run back to the entrance to avoid it. Shit, even Rykard was an awesome fight, because I finally got to do something cool against him, and it still felt challenging, but also fair. But no, every boss has to be in a circular arena, and they're all roll spam bosses because these games are hard. And if you aren't raging constantly, then you aren't having fun. I saw this somewhere, and I can't agree more with it, where someone said Elden Ring feels like you're just playing with your Dark Souls 3 character against Bloodborne bosses. Shit, even some of the enemies in this game are better than you.
My goodness, this shit is so fucking good. Like, I'm so done with this DLC at this point. Like, I am a 5-time Elden Lord. How the fuck am I getting dog walked by some random enemy who can do more than me? Dude, he's like a fucking spinning fucking Beyblade. Like, what the fuck? And then, of course, he kills me in fucking 3 hits anyway. Meanwhile, it takes me like 10 hits to kill him. Again, I'm like level 2 fucking 100, and this dude is stronger than me. Like, what the fuck? God, I'm not even like upset anymore because this is just like what Souls has become. I'm just like annoyed, I guess. Like, I'm not even like mad, just like annoyed.
Onto the lore and story of this DLC, this shit is fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck were they thinking? Look, I love the lore and story in FromSoft games. I think the Dark Souls trilogy is amazing, with Dark Souls 1 being the start of the new age of fire, while Dark Souls 2 is showing you how a completely different area has been affected by the curse, and what they've done with it. Then Dark Souls 3 has the perfect ending of you breaking the cycle and starting over. Bloodborne has honestly the best lore and world building of any of these games, and I will die on this hill. Sekiro actually has a story that's told to you, which is a nice change of pace, and Elden Ring has a great story as well, with it being pretty much each of the demigods being a representation of the 7 deadly sins, and their approach to being Elden Lord, and how everything came to be. Look, I just love Elden Ring's lore and story, okay? So when this game's whole DLC is about pretty much forced gay incest, like, what? They ruined the whole epic fight scene between Melania and Radahn because now we know what they were actually fighting for. And goddamn did they do Radahn so dirty. He had to fight his sister and become a mindless monster, all because he didn't want his femboy brother to fuck him. Like, what? Then the ending with Mikla is supposed to be all sad and I'm supposed to feel bad for him or something. Like, no, fuck you, bro. The DLC just feels like it doubled down on a lot of the problems from the base game. You have hyper-aggressive bosses with these bloated health bars and damage numbers that you need to fight using traditional Souls mechanics that clearly aren't built for that. Instead of actually changing the base mechanics to suit faster gameplay like Bloodborne or Sekiro did, they chose to use summons like the Mimic Tier or whatever else the fuck you use, but let's be real, everyone uses the Mimic Tier. But now the bosses don't even target the Mimic Tier anymore, and sometimes he just fucking stands still, so it's pointless. I feel like this DLC is honestly just a parody of what people think Dark Souls is like. Honestly, I'm just tired of Souls. I love From Software and they make amazing games, but it's time to make something new. I don't want Dark Souls 5. I want something completely different, and From Software has shown that they can make different types of games. Look at Sekiro and Armored Core. Neither of those games are Souls games, yet they are still good, and Sekiro is a masterpiece in my opinion. They have done everything they can with these base mechanics of Souls, and it's getting old. Please, just make something new, or at least make Bloodborne 2.
No. Sakra will be reborn. This is my responsibility to the kingdom. With God's hands, we will reach into every corner of the island and bring it like a newborn babe, screaming into the light.
See, this is such a weird game to talk about because I'm genuinely so conflicted about it. On one hand, it's not a bad game. It's a pretty decent Souls-like with a really cool art style, and the combat, while being very basic, feels pretty good. But, and this is probably the biggest but, pause, this game only takes 10 hours to complete. Yes, you heard me right. A $40 game only has about 10 hours of gameplay. They are charging $40 for a game that is missing 1/3 of the game. Yes, this game is in early access. The game itself is alright. I mean, it's a Souls-like, so you know exactly what you're going to expect. A lot of dodge rolling while hitting them once or twice, and then rinse and repeat. I think the combat feels really good, but the game itself is extremely easy. The only challenging part is at the very end when you have to go through these gauntlets pretty much. Think of it kind of like different levels where you have to defeat every enemy in a room and make your way down to the final stage. This is the only challenging part of the game. And it kind of like hits you randomly because the first like 9 hours of the game is extremely fucking easy. And then you get to this part and all these enemies are damn near like mini bosses. Like, it doesn't feel fair at all. But like, by the time you get here, you're going to be like level 13, 14-ish. And these things will just completely shit on you. Otherwise, besides that, the game is super easy. There's a total of 3 bosses before you get to the gauntlet. And all of them are extremely easy. They won't take you more than 3 tries to beat. Same with the Souls-like levels, they are also really easy, mainly because this game has no consequence for dying. If you die, you lose nothing, and none of the enemies respawn. I don't think I need to explain why that's a little bit of a problem when it comes to a Souls-like game. Honestly, it just feels like the main selling point for this game is the art style. Which, I won't lie, I think the art style and just how this game looks in general is really good. It's clear that they put a lot of time and effort into that part of the game. And this is kind of like, the art style is the part that tries to like separate it from like all the other indie Souls-likes out there. But like, in general, this is just such a hard game to talk about because there isn't much to actually say. At this moment in time, this is just a glorified demo that you have to pay for. There is a lot of potential with this game, but I don't think it's even close to any of the From Software games, or even any of the bigger Souls-likes out there. Honestly, wait till this game is complete and it's on sale before you ever think of buying it. The best way to describe this game is boring. From what I've seen, this game is about 10-ish hours long, and I barely got through about 5 hours of it before I just quit playing. It's so basic that it's boring. I know that in most of these third-person action open-world games, they are all somewhat similar in how they are made, but there is just significantly better games than this. Spider-Man 1 is so much better than this game. All of the Arkham games are better than this. I honestly cannot believe that the people who made Infamous 1 and 2 made this game. The gameplay isn't that good. It's so boring. Like, why would you be getting all these powers if they don't even make the combat any different? In a game where you get 4 different powers, I don't know. I only got through 5 hours of it before I quit, but I think there is 4 powers that you get. I could be wrong, but in my playthrough, I only got 3 powers, and they all pretty much played the exact same way, with just a very minor change to each. Smoke pretty much lets you just shoot out fire from your hands and shoot fire missiles. And like, I guess the difference in gameplay is that you get to like phase through some objects because, you know, you turn into smoke. And because of that, you can go through like different building vents to shoot yourself upwards and whatnot. Then you have neon abilities, and I guess it's pretty much the same thing. Instead of phasing through buildings, though, you get to become the Flash and run at the speed of light, while also being able to slow down time. Then there's TV, which I didn't actually get to use because I was so unbelievably bored of this game, I just quit. But I guess from what I did see in my game, I got to the point where you turn invisible. Again, I don't know how TV powers can make you turn invisible, but sure, I guess. It honestly, from what I saw on like the upgrade tree, it looked pretty much just like the magic class, quote unquote. Like you could have like a bunch of projectiles and whatnot. Again, I don't even care to explain the gameplay. That's how boring this game is. The story also isn't good. Delsin is such a downgrade from Cole, it's unbelievable. He's pretty much a rebellious teenager stuck in a 25-year-old's body. He feels like his entire character was written by a group of middle-aged white people who think this is how young adults act. His brother is also such a shitty character, I don't even remember his name. His entire thing is that he's like a cop who is like racist towards the conduits. So Delsin has to make him and everyone else see that conduits aren't the bad people and that they're just like everyone else, just that they have powers, which Delsin will make them either use for good or bad, depending on what choice you make. And the big evil bad guy is this girl boss who holds all the conduits captive and runs tests on them, so Delsin wants to take her down and shit. I genuinely don't have that much to say about this game because most likely you have played a game just like this before, just with a different title. The only original thing about this game is that you have to use the controller / touchpad to do certain things. Like to gain your powers back. Think of it as like reloading a weapon pretty much. But in order to do that, you have to use the touchpad. And the touchpad sucks. It's extremely unresponsive. Or to open a door, or to use like one of like the power core relay stations that like you get to use extra powers or like gain extra powers. You need to swipe up and hold on the touchpad. One of the side missions in this game is you going around Seattle to spray paint like some tags around different buildings. And in order to do this, you actually have to like use the controller as if it's like a Wii remote to spray paint these stencils, and it's so fucking boring. This game is genuinely so boring and basic that even though the game itself is very short, it feels so long. Pause. There is nothing original about this game at all. It feels like a safe version of Infamous 1 and 2. This literally is Hot Topic, the video game.
Welcome to the opening night of Honest Conference, and for the first time ever, one of our industry's greatest creators, the director and executive producer of Bethesda Game Studios. That's right, Todd Howard, everybody. And Todd is here to give us an honest account of Starfield.
Thank you, Jeff. This is my first Honest Conference, and I'm doing it because you said how great the crowd is here.
So Todd, we love you, and this is a safe space. You can let the truth out now. Why did you want to make this game, Starfield? Why did you want to create a new world?
We have dreamt of a game where we can truly break the creation engine in every aspect. Once you've all upgraded your PCs, you'll be able to explore thousands of barren planets where a real sense of loneliness will start setting in. I mean, we tried to do something new where you could explore with complete freedom in the galaxy. But something's wrong with the game, and I can't quite put my finger on it.
It can't be all that bad, though, Todd.
Well, crafting is worse, outposts are worse, companions will constantly moan at you, perks are worse, there's fewer gear slots. You know, I could go on and on. Can you imagine 16 times the loading screens, though?
Yeah, I wish I could talk about the loading screens, and it's quite an experience, and I know everyone here is very excited to experience it soon. So Todd, what bugs did you bring to HonestCon?
Yeah, it's really cool. We've built a 300-person seat theater where we're constantly looping bugs from the game.
And what's the experience like?
Well, to be honest, it's a real nightmare. They're going to need to buckle up, and it's 2 hours they'll never get back. And I see a lot of things on the internet. I'm not sure that's real.
Let's move on to Quest then. Could you give us an example of what that's like?
Yeah, Jeff. As an example of a quest, you'll go to a star yard, talk to a lady, need to fetch a beverage, 10 loading screens later, and you've got a beverage. That's it. That's the only quest in that handcrafted location.
Surely there must be some improvements to the creation engine.
Hey, yeah. Just wait until you see what we've done with global illumination, bucket physics, artificial intelligence, character variation, and our brand new cutting-edge 2005 motion capture technology. Add to this, I honestly believe we have the worst UI in the world because, hey, you know, the modders will fix that. And after 100 hours in the game, I still have no idea where anything is in New Atlantis. I honestly have zero clue where my penthouse apartment is.
And any Metacritic predictions for this, Todd?
We're aiming for a controversial 7 out of 10.
Starfield is the very definition of doing the absolute bare minimum. This game legitimately sucks, and it's not like it sucks because it's disappointing, but because it's genuinely trash. Starfield is what happens when a bunch of diversity hires and AI are tasked to make a video game. I don't even really know where to begin with this game, honestly. I guess we will start with the biggest flaw of the game, and that's the entire premise of the game itself. This is a space exploration game with no space exploration. This is what makes me raise a million questions about this game, because how in the fuck are you developing a game for 9 years? Yes, 9 fucking years. And the core concept of your game is missing. That's when you know you just fucked up and it's time to restart. It's time to hit the drawing board again. I'm convinced this game was in pre-production for 5 years, and then they actually spent maybe only 4 years actually making the game. I mean, who at Bethesda thought this was acceptable? Who signed off on this? For a game all about exploring space, there is almost no actual exploring. It's just, hey, select this mission, open the map, and fast travel there. You don't actually have to fly there or find the planet yourself or look around the fucking planet. No. You just have to hold X and watch some cutscene of you traveling there. Space in this game might as well just be one big ass loading screen. because there's truly nothing to do in space. Sure, there is the occasional like ship fight, but they're all scripted. It's not like you will naturally come across this happening. There's no asteroid fields that you can fly through. Like, yes, there is like asteroids and little like debris fields that you come across after you're done fast traveling, but they're in your way for like 5 seconds. I'm talking about like an actual like asteroid field that like you have to fly around and, I don't know, collect materials or something. I don't know, just anything that would make traveling space more fun. There's like 4 or 5 different factions in this game, and I think some of them dislike each other. I don't know, this game has horrible lore and world building in general. But I think it would be kind of cool if, like, I don't know, you could like come across 2 factions fighting each other or having a disagreement, and you have to decide if you want to step in or leave them alone. Maybe there could have been like a black hole that like makes traveling a little harder, like, I don't know, like a giant black hole that like you have to avoid or something, I don't know. Which, thinking about it now, the fact that there isn't like a black hole in this game is kind of crazy. I would have expected like an Interstellar like esque black hole thing, since this game just copies a bunch of shit from other popular sci-fi movies / media. The planets themselves suck. There's nothing on them. It's quite literally just a big square of 3 copy-paste points of interest. That's it. One big empty square. There is little to no enemies on any of the planets. There's like no threats whatsoever. They all feel the same, which kind of was to be expected. I know when this game was coming out and they were building hype for it, Todd told his usual lies saying that there would be over 1,000 different planets, which, one, I refuse to believe that there's actually 1,000 different planets in this game. 2, just hearing that made me know that this was going to be ass, because there was no way in hell that they were able to design 1,000 different planets and make them feel each like handcrafted and unique. This is where the AI comes in, because each place is procedurally generated, which is another reason why each planet feels the same. Like, you can't even fly onto any of the planets from space, like in No Man's Sky. Like, come on, really, Bethesda? Like, I don't get it. The one thing Bethesda is known for, and honestly, the only reason that they're still in business, is because of the worlds that they've made. Skyrim is one of the most successful games ever made, simply because of its world. Then with Fallout 3 and 4, the Capital Wasteland and the Commonwealth felt super realistic, and also had like that video game charm to them that made them feel like worth exploring. Meanwhile, in Starfield, that's completely missing. No planet you land on feels cool. They all pretty much feel the same. Yes, I will say that they look pretty, like New Atlantis looks nice, but there's nothing to do in the city besides buy shit. Same with Neon, which feels like it was ripped straight from Cyberpunk 2077. It's some cyberpunk-esque city where crime is rampant and everyone is looking out for themselves, and the elites run everything, blah blah blah, you know. Yet, there's no crime or corpos taking advantage of anyone. Then you have some city ripped straight from Cowboy Bebop. Like, all of these places feel the same. It's so boring and lazy. Also, everything about this game just feels so fucking autistic and dumb. Like, the voice acting is so bad, and like, they talk to you like you're an idiot. And everyone in this game just looks like they have like fetal alcohol syndrome. Why is everyone so fucking ugly?
Oh my god, that's it. They're reacting. Look at how it's coming together. That energy that's arcing between them, no manufactured material in the settled systems can do that. None of them. This proves
Easy, girl. Breathe. You'll have a heart attack.
She's not the only one. If they're coming together, that means there's a set. Built by an intelligence outside the settled systems.
Dude, why does she fucking talk like this? Like, it sounds like you're just trying too hard, bro. Like, shut up.
I'm gonna need a tissue sample from it. And to get that...
Like, we get it. The character is injured, but, like, why does it sound like you're dying? Like, it's your last fucking
But there
breath.
is a way we can give ourselves an edge against
Like,
this
it sounds
thing.
like a fucking anime
The plant
character.
security system. The admin...
No, I've done
Yeah,
this
you
routine.
fucking tell him, Sarah.
Let's
You
skip to the
fucking
part
tell
where
him.
you admit you're lying.
But, like,
about
why
what
are
your
your
aim
eyes
is.
so far? Like, wait, her eyes aren't even even. Like, looking at her eyes, like, they're not even. What is it, like her left eye? Or, I guess, her right eye, I think, is, like, so, like, spread out. Like, it's not leveled with the other one. Holy shit.
Lower the price. Don't
Got
think
fucking
we
Down
can't
syndrome.
find another way to get what we...
Hey!
What the fuck? That is
Welcome
not a
to the-
dude. No, that is
Not
not
here
a
to make you
dude.
feel-
How is his
Oh,
face shaped like a... He has like a girl-shaped
but he's a
face and
combat.
like features.
He's white,
Yeah, like,
It's been a while.
what the fuck, bro?
Well.
What the? Wait, why are they all wearing the same fucking thing? What the fuck am I looking at? Really, Bethesda? Really? Oh my god, not another one. That is a fucking man. You're ugly.
If I could just
Dude,
stay here
what the
forever.
fuck? Why are they all... They couldn't, like, get any different swimsuits, really? Why are they all wearing the same shit?
I guess I have to admit this was...
Oh, there's more of them. Great. What the... That, again,
going to
that is
care if I
not...
call
What
out
the
sick from
fuck?
work for
That is
another
a
week,
female
right?
haircut. What am I looking at? Oh my goodness.
This game is just a clusterfuck of concepts that they tried to make work, but they just don't. I would say Starfield is about 70% Fallout 4, 20% No Man's Sky, and 10% Skyrim. It's clear that this is just mainly Fallout 4 in space, and I'll give them this, that they improved on the combat at least. I thought the best part about Fallout 4, other than the world, was the combat. Fallout 4 is a good open-world first-person shooter. Everything else about it is extremely mid to even bad. But even saying that, when you compare Starfield to Fallout 4, Fallout 4 still feels like a game that some level of care was put into. I think they definitely improved on the shooting in Starfield. It feels a lot better and more fluid than in Fallout 4. But that's really the only improvement that they made. They made the enemies have levels to them, which is fucking stupid, and doesn't really impact the game at all. You can pretty much easily kill high-level enemies in this game no matter what level you are. Just the higher the level of the enemy, the more bullet spongy they are. The No Man's Sky elements in this game I didn't even touch really. I'm not gonna sit here mining fucking ore and resources. I hate survival craft games for that reason alone. And my least favorite part of No Man's Sky was the constant mining of resources. So I didn't even touch that side of Starfield. Same with the settlement feature, I don't care. I didn't care for it in Fallout 4, and I'm not going to care about it in Starfield. Then the Skyrim part was honestly just retarded. Like, come on, Bethesda. Really? Fucking Starborn. That's the best you can come up with. The powers you get in this game are so fucking bad, I never once used them. Or felt like the need to use them. That's how shit they are. And then don't even get me started on collecting the different powers. Oh my god. So you do remember in Skyrim, there was all the shouts, and in order to upgrade your shout or get a new one, you'd have to travel to these walls that could be found in caves or just around the world. Well, they brought that idea back, but this time you fly to some random planet, walk to some stupid temple, do the most boring puzzle. I don't even know what to fucking call it. You just float in this stupid star thing, and in order to open up the portal, you have to float into these star I don't know, these glowing stars. And after you do that enough, which mind you, sometimes it can be done in 30 seconds, and sometimes it takes 2 fucking minutes. But you do that and you open up a portal just to watch a cutscene. And you do that 12 fucking times. This is what I'm talking about when I say that there was no effort put into this game. Or that the employees at Bethesda just fucking suck. Because there's no way that they decided to put 12 of these stupid things around the universe and thought it was a good idea.
Please, Bethesda, please let me stop. Stop doing this to me. Have some mercy. I'm tired of doing this. This isn't fun. I don't know whose idea it was to sign off on this, but you need to be fucking fired. Oh my god, this shit is boring. Let it end, please, Todd. I'm sorry for shit-talking your game.
The ship combat is alright. I didn't get too crazy with my ship. I honestly just wanted a ship big enough to hold all my crew, and that would do a lot of damage. But it's alright, it's passable. You just need a good ship and to put a few points into ship maneuverability, and it becomes a lot easier. All the quests in this game are terrible. I can't think of one decent quest. Well, that's actually a lie, because there was one decent quest when the Starborn attacked, and you had to choose either to go to the big ship in space or to defend the base, the Constellation base or whatever. And depending on what you choose, either Sarah or Barrett dies. Now, the only reason I say this was decent is because I did the romance option with Sarah. Now, I don't know how the fuck I got that far, because I was high as hell playing this game, and I thought the romance dialogue options were hilariously bad. You pretty much just sexually harass and gaslight her into falling in love with you. It's actually insane.
Dude, I feel so bad for this woman. We are just who wrote this? Okay, this is genuinely almost this it probably is qualified under like harassment at this point. I've done like 3 of these like flirt options, and like she has turned me down each and every fucking time. Yet like I am consistently like I'm gaslighting this bitch into loving me. Okay, like I don't care. She might be ugly as shit and she looks like she has like fetal alcohol syndrome. I don't care. Okay, you are gonna love me, Sarah. We are not letting up. This bitch will love us. I don't care how many fucking times that she's gonna turn us down. You will fall in love with us, Sarah. It doesn't matter that you met us maybe like a week ago. No. You will love us, Sarah. You will love Guap.
I don't know what to say.
But like on a real note, who wrote this? Like this is what makes me think that AI wrote this game, or like the dialogue for some of this, because no human being actually can write like this, or like unironically feels like this is okay to put in a game. Nobody talks like this.
Not ready. Not yet.
Dude, I'm too fucking fried. How the fuck did I get here, bro? What the dude? This game is so fucking ass. Like, you couldn't have me fly towards a planet because it was probably too much fucking work for you. But you can like make a wedding for this character. Like we're literally having a wedding. Me and this golem are fucking having a wedding. But I can't fly on a fucking planet. I can't even swim underwater in this game. But they needed to put in a fucking wedding. My goodness. I don't even know how the fuck I got here, bro. I'm too fucking high, bro. What the fuck is this? No. This stupid bitch did not just die. No. I did not waste my time doing her whole boring ass fucking side quest and doing her stupid cringy fucking wedding just for her to fucking die. I didn't get no fucking play, bro. I didn't get a kiss. I got no pussy. No. I'm restarting. No, I did not do all that shit for nothing. Fuck that.
Other than that, though, every mission kind of just starts to blend together the more you play the game, and it eventually started to hurt my soul to play. Like, I had to force myself to finish this game. For example, there is this quest all about the Terramorphs, which are just space deathclaws, and you have to find out why they're appearing in places that they shouldn't be, blah blah blah. And it turns out that these little bug things that like attach to people's ships evolve into Terramorphs, and this evil criminal bad guy dude who like the UC is like holding captive. I don't know if you guys have ever watched like the Blacklist, but this guy is pretty much just like a shitty version of Raymond Reddington, who has like this list of super evil criminals that he turns into the UC so they won't kill him. And you have this choice to side with him or whatever, and if you do decide to side with him, you get Radiant Quest. Then the main story sucks, which I know that's a low blow, seeing how Bethesda never writes good main stories. Fallout 3's story is retarded if you just think about it for 5 seconds. I'm gonna bet a very solid amount of players who haven't even like finished like Skyrim's main quest, they don't even probably know that there is a main quest in Skyrim. And Fallout 4's story is terrible, so I wasn't really surprised that this story sucked. It was just so long and boring. Even though, like, technically it's not that long, I bet if you just tunnel vision the main story, you could beat it in, like, 15 hours. But just how boring and repetitive it is, it feels like it takes an eternity to complete. Pretty much, to sum it up, the entire story, it's just a nihilistic multiverse story where nothing actually matters and you become a Starborn. So now you can travel through different universes and see all the different outcomes to things. Pretty much, it's just a way to make New Game Plus feel like it's something that it's more than it is. Guys, I don't even know what to say anymore. I truly thought while playing this game I would have had so much more to say, but I really don't. This game sucks, okay? Like, it feels like there was no care and effort put into this game. You could say that it's soulless. Like I said at the very beginning, Starfield is the definition of doing the bare minimum. It's like the devs were given like a checklist of things to add to the game and just cross it off when they added it. There's genuinely nothing interesting about this game. This is one of those games where like you need to have like massive game-changing mods in order to make it fun. And I'm talking like the mods similar to like those Skyrim ones where like they completely remaster the game. That's what Starfield needs. But the problem is nobody gives a fuck about Starfield. All the mods for this game are either just like quality of life changes, like some minor graphical facelifts or Coomer mods. Please, for the love of God, do not buy this game. Let Bethesda die. If you are going to buy Starfield, wait a few years until it's on sale for like $10 with all the DLCs. That's like the only time I would recommend buying this. And if anyone still has hope or like some form of hype for the Elder Scrolls 6, just stop. Bethesda is dead. All the talent left years ago. This game fucking sucks, okay?